Hey, Gen Xers, it's Gen X Elder GJ here with another shameless self promotion for the book I wrote, Timeless Truths Hermetic Wisdom for the Gen X Journey, in which I chronicle my kind of midlife crisis, let's call it that, the dark night of the soul, a breakdown that I'm slowly realizing was a breakthrough. It's all chronicled here and talks a lot about, the programming that we were instilled with, in high school and public school. And it talks a lot about, picturing yourself back as a 12-year-old. What were your dreams back then? And I posted something on Facebook the other night, and it got some good comments, and it kind of pertains to what we're talking about in the book. And it's a post, and I'll share the picture here. I was just making dinner the other night, and I took a picture, and I was dancing around the kitchen with an 80s mix of all things, and I was just so chilled, so relaxed. And the comment I wrote was, quote, "When I was 12, I thought I'd be a grandpa by this age," which is late 50s, "instead of a childless bachelor cooking dinner with a little vino and dancing to an 80s mix." Well, the comments were mainly like, "Holy cow, that sounds fantastic." And honestly, it really was. And some of the other comments included, "It's not too late," and also somebody wanted a video of the dancing. Not going to happen. But in the book, I talk a lot about relationships and the struggles that I had with relationships over the course of my lifetime. And we won't go into a lot of that, although I will tell you that with the big five personality traits, when I took those at the age of 55, I realized that, I wasn't broken. Relationships were always going to be a struggle and always have been a struggle for me. And, so I'm here to tell you, basically, I'm 59 years old. I've never been married, and I have no children. And a lot of you might say, well, a lot of people are in that situation as well, and it's personal choice. Arthur Schopenhauer really was he's a good source of inspiration when it comes to leading a childless, kind of solitary lifestyle. But not only that, I mean, it's one thing to not have a wife or an ex-wife or children or grandchildren when you reach late 50s as a Gen Xer. But I don't have any parents now. Both my parents passed away, which I talk about in the book. I have an older brother who has a wife and three children. One of them has a grandchild. They're all married except my eldest niece, who is recently divorced. Fun story, and I will share this. When she was 4 years old, she came up and said, "Uncle Greg, I want to be the flower girl at your wedding." And I said to her, "Shauna, you'll be married before I'm married." And it was foreshadowing, and it came true, but I didn't also tell her that she'd be divorced before I even got married the first time. So anyway, that's my anecdote regarding my choice to be a bachelor at this age. But to be this age and not have any direct family. Now, back to my brother, we haven't really talked. I don't know why, or we didn't get along great as kids. He was kind of like a second father figure and very judgmental. So it was kind of tough having an emotionless father and a kind of judgmental older brother. So needless to say, I'm kind of flying solo. And it's challenging at times. A lot of people say, you lead such a great life, but they don't know all the intricate details of being a 59-year-old bachelor with, no dependence whatsoever. I have a cat, which I read about or write about in the book as well, but he's getting up there in years. So, I hate to think about having to, say goodbye to him. But I just want to start a dialogue maybe about, what your relationship experience was over the course of your lifetime. I mean, I tried. Relationships for me were more of external fixes. I didn't want to be in my headspace, and I thought a relationship would fix that. And that is completely the wrong reasoning to get into a relationship. And, I see people do that all the time. I know people that are on their second, their third, maybe their fourth, go down the aisle and attempt to wed, and I wish them all the best of luck on that. But obviously, that's a pattern, and a lot of this book talks about patterns that you'll start seeing. Carl Jung calls it circumambulation, where you just keep circling the capital S self. And I talk a lot about that in Timeless Truths, Hermetic Wisdom for the Gen X Journey. And I'll leave a link in the description down there where you can check out the book on Amazon. It's paperback and also it's ebook. The audio book is coming once my studio thaws out from this Ontario winter that we've been having. So, relationships. Are you good at them? Have you maintained one throughout your life? Do you have children? Do you have dependents? Let's start a dialogue, a Gen X dialogue about relationships, because I'm really not hating my life right now at all. If I can cook some dinner, crank some 80s, have a glass of wine, and just relax, things could definitely be worse. So that's the topic of today's video, and I'd love to hear more from you. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and we'll talk again soon on Gen X Mindset.